If I can do this all in one take, that'll be beautiful. So, I have no idea if this is, like, going to reach the public eye, but in case it does, hi, my name's Stars, I think, and I watched Siege War for Cybertron, and I didn't have a good time. This is my Starstream mug, by the way. It says #1 second in command because I think I'm funny. I'm just having it here because I like doing something with my hands. It'll hopefully keep me occupied and grounded and not ramble for 8 years. The last 4 takes I've done kind of conflict with that idea, so... A disclaimer. Well, first of all, I have notes over here that I'm reading off of, so if you see me looking over here, that's why. But #1, this is not a spoiler-free review. I'm not, going super in-depth with, like, plot details that could be considered spoilers, but I'm definitely not aiming to have this be a spoiler-free review either. And #2, this is a mostly negative review. That also being said, I don't hold it out for anyone who likes Siege. Like, congratulations, you like something that I was unable to enjoy, and honestly, more power to you, because I don't like not liking things. But, you know, here we are. I don't like Siege, and I want to talk about it. #3, I am not a reviewer. I don't review stuff. I'm just a bastard with opinions. So if you want to see someone actually, like, coherently and, like, intelligently talk about Siege and its problems or what they liked about it, go see anyone else. Not me. That is not me. #4, I'm a very vulgar person, and I do not speak well. I ramble, I stutter, I choke on my words, so if there's a ton of, like, cuts, or I just don't try to edit this at all, and there's a lot of, you know, ums and ahs and shit like that, I'm sorry, I am just the way I am doing my best. Anyways, let's talk about the nightmare that was my experience watching Siege War for Cybertron. Sweater tastes like shit. I'm staring at that lava lamp, wondering if I can turn it on and give, like, the background a little more, like, visual interest. I'm gonna see if I can turn it on. Oh, thank God you can't see how long this shirt is on me. Oh, shit! Okay, I'm glad we're actually starting off with a more positive point, which is really nice. I actually didn't mind how Siege looked that much, which I was surprised because I thought I was going to have a huge problem with how it looked. It's actually one of the things I have like the least problems with. I thought like the scenery and shit like that was actually pretty nice. Of course, like, I've seen some people complaining about how it was repetitive, like, how Cybertron looked and stuff, and like, I guess I kind of agree, but it wasn't that bad. I've definitely seen worse. I thought some scenes were, like, genuinely really pretty. I love, like, any of the rain scenes, but also I have a bias because I really like rain. But I don't know, I thought it was overall not that bad. Character animation-wise, though, actually, I don't really have that big of a problem with the character animation. I thought, as a whole, it was okay. I've definitely seen worse, especially Transformers-wise. But character design-wise, I guess I have to talk about the elephant in the room, so hold on, fuck this prop. Him, Stiv, we have to talk about him and his fucking lips, right now. So, there was a part of me, whenever, you know, they first released the trailer and saw Megatron with lips, I was like, this has to be some kind of joke, right? Like, it was gonna be like a joke in the show, and it was just kind of like, never addressed, and like, I thought that maybe I'd eventually get used to it, you know, as I watch Siege, especially since I like Megatron a lot, just in general, but I also kind of actually liked him in Siege. He wasn't that bad. But, you know, the more I watched it, the more I was like, yeah, I'm still staring at his lips the entire time he speaks. And I just don't think that's something you really want, whenever you have a show with, like, an intimidating antagonist. And all I can think about is, like, God, those lips are ugly. You know, I think Megatron deserves lips sometimes, but just not ugly lips, because that's what they are. Ugly. It's just such a bizarre choice, you know? So bizarre. And there's a part of me, this is such an accusation, but there's a part of me that wonders if they did it as like a publicity stunt, of like, because I can't sit here and just not think that someone in the animation room or anyone who, like, before that was released didn't say, Hey gang, this looks a little, bad, don't you think? I guess we might never know why that happened. I would love to know. I would love to sit down with the animators and be like, why did you do this to me? Why would you do this to me and my husband? I guess this kind of falls under character animation, but I thought the fight scenes were really boring. And like, I'm definitely not into Transformers for the action scenes. But like, I think they can be enjoyed. But just not in the case of Siege. I thought they were very boring. I thought that, you know, they were just very dull. I didn't remember anything from them. I just realized I wasn't breathing. I guess I'll throw this in here really quick, even though it's kind of just like goes without saying. The female designs. Get your shit together, Hasbro, please. It is 2020. I love you very much. You have to go now, Hasbro. Good sound. It wasn't. Speaking of sound, that's a great segue. I wish I could give a more detailed, review of the sound design and music. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I don't remember anything about the sound design or music. Why am I not being focused on horror? It's a good thing because clearly it wasn't bad enough for me to remember it. But it's also a bad thing because it wasn't good enough for me to remember it. So I guess we'll put it in like this mediocre category because it's like, I think sound design and music can be a really, really important part of your show, but also at the same time, if it doesn't leave an impression on me, I guess that isn't explicitly a bad thing. So, I don't know, we'll set that aside because, We'll go on to voice acting though, which I do have an opinion about. So, the voice acting, it's okay. It's okay. The voice acting isn't explicitly bad, it just really leaves something to be desired, I think. It's nothing that really stuck with me. One thing that did stuck with me, let's switch props again really quick. Oh shit, I forgot he's like this. And I have this little, like, disembodied hand holding a gun that I got. So now he's just an Optimus, because I think I'm funny. The one memorable thing from the voice acting, for me, was the scene where Optimus is talking to the Guardians, because I remember leaning back and just screaming to myself, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up, because I just hated how he spoke in that scene. I don't know why. I thought Optimus as a whole wasn't that bad. Just left something to be desired, as most of Siege did for me. Oh, I guess, one positive thing about the voice acting, another prop change. He's missing a gun. Starscream was my favorite, voice actor in Siege. I also really like Megatron and Soundwave a lot, but Starscream specifically stuck with me because he sounded almost exactly like G1 Starscream, except it didn't have, like, the 80s shitty quality to it, and I could, like, actually fucking understand him, and I loved that. I thought he was great. I really enjoyed him. Some people, like, have really hated how Starscream sounded. I loved him. There was an ant on me? Oh, now I'm a little worried. So I guess overall, for voice acting, it could have been worse, it could have been better, and honestly, just take that clip right there, and that's my whole review of Siege. Oh boy, I'm gonna go crazy now. We're gonna talk about writing. I guess my biggest problem with the writing is the lack of exposition. Where the fuck is it? Hi, I'm editing, and I realized how fucking incoherent I was during this part when I first recorded it, so I'm redoing it. I'm not gonna sit here and say that, stories need to be 100% coherent and upfront about what their pre-story was, but when it comes to something like Transformers where, like, I don't know, it actually matters, I feel like it needed to be a little more upfront about, what the war is about, why it was going on, who the Autobots and Decepticons are, who they stand for, because, I've been a Transformers fan for a long time, so, and most shows follow the same, general idea, so I can kind of assume what's going on, what the war's about, which side stands for what, and a couple, lines of dialogue helped me here and there, but, I feel like I shouldn't have to have information from other series to fill in the gaps for Siege. because I felt like that's what I was doing, and I wonder what it's like for a non-Transformers fan to watch Siege, and what they assume is happening, because I just felt like they didn't give you a lot to work with. And, number two, I feel like I shouldn't have to assume things about your show? I think that kind of fills in the blanks I was wanting to, so I'll let Past Stars take it over. Is that a hot take? That I shouldn't have to assume what happened? That, I don't know, the show should explicitly show me or tell me what happened? Ow! I drank my shitty water to cope with the fact that I just hit my knee. Whenever I was, first writing down my notes for, the plot section, there was, a part of me that was like, man, I really don't remember a lot of Siege, and I don't feel like that's fair to the show, for me to shit on its plot whenever I don't remember a lot of it. But at the same time, I feel like the reason why I don't remember a lot of Siege, and most of it is a fucking fever dream for me, was because I was forcing myself to watch something I didn't really like and didn't really feel involved in. And that's not on me, that's on the writers for not writing a compelling show. God, that's mean. But I just genuinely didn't like Siege that much. From the get-go, I stopped between episode 3 and episode 4. I took a 2-day break because I had life going on. And, by episode 3, my opinions were pretty much solidified that I didn't really like it, and I was only finishing it so I could give myself clarity that it didn't get any better. And I was right, and I hate having to say that. But I guess what I'm trying to go with here is that Siege's plot and general writing was not good. It was just not good. It's one of the things I hate about it the most, was that I just hoped for it to be something more interesting than it was. Because it tried to cram a lot into the 6 episodes, and I feel like a lot of people were saying, oh, well, 6 episodes wasn't a lot of time, but it's still they were half-hour episodes. You can still do a lot with that. I just felt like they both tried to do so little and so much, which is so weird to say, but I feel like that, encompasses Siege so well, where it just kind of fucked up in such a weird way, and it's so bad in such a weird way. I feel like if there had been a little more, it sounds so mean, effort put into the writing, and actually it felt thought out, because it doesn't feel thought out, that it could have been good. I think that's the thing that bothers me about Siege the most, is that as a whole, it has a lot of potential, and it just kind of missed the mark. I don't know. Just as an overall, the writing for Siege was weird, in a bad way. The pacing was strange, the lack of exposition was bad, it was boring. It's just boring. But it's time for me to go off the shits. Why don't I use a fucking handle? Jetfire's a cunt. I swear to God, I actually have something deeper to say about this. Jetfire was the character that made me go fucking crazy. I don't know why. Well, I kind of know why. But, so, my huge issue with it is, one of the first things you see from the Decepticons, and more importantly, Jetfire as a character, is him attacking Starscream. And specifically, maiming him to the point where Starscream is, screaming in pain. It's not played off for laughs like a lot of Starscream's abuses in other series. It's treated relatively seriously. When I first saw that, I was like, holy shit, we're getting off the shit Skyfire. Love this. I thought something really interesting was going to happen with this, both with Skyfire and Starscream, as characters, and, a bunch of other stuff. Because, you usually have Megatron being the abusive one, so I thought that maybe they were doing, a role reversal here. I don't know. Something interesting. And especially since I knew/assumed that Skyfire was going to join the Autobots, I was like, great, I would love to see how this character, who literally abuses his own soldiers, goes from that to an Autobot. And then he doesn't get an arc. It's just kind of there's instances here and there where Skyfire's that's kind of mean. Megatron's being kind of mean. We shouldn't do that to the Autobots. And it's hello? You cut Starscream's hand off. You called him a tool. Who the fuck are you? That's There's a scene that drives me crazy. It's whenever Ultra Magnus has his gun pointed to Megatron's back and he won't take the shot because he's a coward, I don't know. And, Skyfire's there, and instead of doing what he did to Starscream, where he cut Starscream's hand off, he cuts off the tip of Ultra Magnus's gun. And it's like, why couldn't you have done that with Starscream? And like, they never give you a reason why Skyfire hates Starscream other than like, he's arrogant. So, you like, I'm like grabbing my cup for support. I've tried to do this like 8 times now. Something about like fucking Jetfire like hurts my brain. I don't know what it is. Also, I can see the lighting slowly getting worse and it's killing me inside. You have these like 2 versions of Jetfire in Siege. I just dropped my cup. Where you have this one like G1-esque Skyfire who realizes that the Autobots are good and the Decepticons are evil. We shouldn't do that to the Autobots. And that's great. I don't mind that Jetfire at all. Sure, keep him in here. I like him. I love the idea of faction switching. I think it's fascinating. But then you also have this version of Skyfire where he thinks it's okay to maim Starscream and like be a piece of shit. And I just don't think you can have those 2 characterizations coexisting in the same character because they conflict with each other horribly. Because you can't have a character who has been fighting this war for, you know, God knows how long, and just all of a sudden is like, oh, I don't want to be mean to the Autobots, but at the same time is still consistently being a piece of shit to Starscream, and like, not only being rude to him, because it seems like everyone's rude to him, but like, physically harming him. Like, maybe you could justify it with like, explaining why he hates Starscream, but even then, it's like, I don't think the Autobots would want a Seeker commander, you know, regardless of how useful he is, who like, literally abuses his soldiers, of which Wheeljack and Bumblebee witnessed, and they were just like, okay with that? Like, what's going on? Hold on, I'm out of focus again, aren't I? Oh, well, that's worse. Jetfire, like, represents a kind of larger problem that a lot of the characters seem to have, which is why it's in the writing section. This seems to be the 2 extremes of the problems with the character writing in Siege. They're stupid, and or they have 2 characterizations of themselves that conflict constantly. And it's so weird. Megatron has this, like, problem in almost every other continuity, where you have this, you know, freedom fighter who just all of a sudden turns evil. And it's never explained, and it's weird, and it's kind of gross. And then you also have something similar with that with Ratchet, who is like, I don't hurt people anymore. Leave me be in peace. And then when they're like, but we want you to help you, he's like, okay, I point a gun on you, I'm gonna kill you now, I'm going to hurt you, even though I said I don't hurt people anymore. Like, that is such a weird problem for the writing to have, but Siege has it, because I don't know, Hasbro is weird, and whoever fucking wrote Siege is weird, and Siege makes me feel like I'm losing my mind. Ah! So I guess just as a whole, the writing for Siege is bad, and explicitly, the plot is so bad and leaves so much to be desired. And the characters are just inconsistent and or stupid. And that is just... Because I'm a very... What I want of Transformers that I feel like we never get is, like, character complexity and depth. And, you know, I don't know why I held my hopes out for Siege. I was just hoping it'd be in there. But, you know, I guess, on a more closing note, I hope that the next chapters of Siege are good. But I don't know if I should hold my breath. Hello. Okay. I filmed what I thought would be the ending of this and then realized, nope, that wasn't an adequate ending. So I moved to better lighting so I could finish off. So I guess as a whole, take a shot every time I say as a whole, because holy shit, no pun intended. My general thoughts on Siege. It wasn't the worst show I've ever seen. Certainly wasn't the best, though. It left a lot to be desired, and I wish it was better, because I think Siege could have been really good, and it just wasn't. Hello, baby kitty tail. I definitely didn't say everything I want to say about Siege. I just, I just kind of rambled and let off everything I wanted to let off in the moment, but you know, I have other thoughts that are good, bad, neutral. I thought Siege was okay. It left a lot to be desired, and I wish it was better. I think it had a lot of potential that it just kind of missed. So yeah, that's my, like, general thoughts. Obviously I'm not expecting everyone to agree with me on this. Like I said in the beginning, I'm just a bastard with opinions. I like Transformers, and I sometimes like the shows, but Hasbro does nothing but give me shit I don't want. So, thus is the life of a Transformers fan. You don't like what Hasbro gives you, but you watch it anyways. I'm going to go eat pizza now.